Welcome back to another Pokemon TCG tabletop video. In today's video, I'm going to be trying out this Joltik box deck that saw some success at the Merida Regional Championships. Little disclaimer, I kind of have no idea what I'm doing with this Joltik box deck, but I just didn't want to play Dragapult at my Friday night league challenge. I'm already capped out, so figured out to have some fun, play this Joltik box deck, get some experience with it, kind of see what it's about. So a little bit of a learning experience for me in this video. Definitely wouldn't qualify myself as an expert on this one, but as far as the list goes, I just copied the list that saw success, Tyler Matthews' list. I don't know who actually created it, but he was the best placing one. So I copied his list, and then I cut the future booster capsule for the second Latias. I cut the Iono for the fourth Pokegear, and I think that's all the changes I made. Oh, and I put a Super Odd in the deck. I cut the Maractus for that. I pretty much, any tech card that I didn't know what it was for, I just took it out of the deck and put in some more consistency. So we're going to be playing this Joltik box deck here in round one. We run into a Gholdengo player, which I assume to be a good matchup, right? They can't really deal with Pikachu EX, so I assume the strategy here is to just power up 2 Pikachus with Joltik and then go in from there. I'm going to probably need to set up for 3 Pikachu attacks, though, so might have to get some Crispins involved. I also knew that I couldn't afford to put 3 2-prize Pokemon in play that weren't Pikachu, right? Like if I put like Clefairy, Miraidon, and Fez in play, my opponent could potentially just go boss, and take go 2-2-2, and I couldn't do anything about that. So I don't know if Gholdengo actually plays 3 boss, but I just didn't put down 3 2-prize Pokemon. And then I was debating splitting my energies between the Pikachus, but I was like, you know what? I don't think my opponent can even do anything about this 5 energy Pikachu, and it'll be easier for me to Topaz Bolt back to back if I just have all the energies on one Pikachu. Say I split the energies, right? I would actually need Grass Metal Lightning, and then I would discard them all, and then I need Grass Metal Lightning on the next one. But this way, when I Topaz Bolt, I can Topaz Bolt with any 6th energy card, and then I can leave my Pikachu with Grass Lightning Metal, so I'm set up to Topaz Bolt again on the next turn. Now here, I kind of had a realization. My opponent's Dunsparce has an attack that does 10 damage, and so I don't think I can actually do anything about that. But that Dunsparce is a great way, if you're playing this Gholdengo deck, to just break Pikachu's ability. If you're playing Gholdengo Dragapult, you could use the Dreepy's attack. I don't know if it's either fire or psychic, and it does 10 damage. So that's definitely a good option to break the Pikachu's ability here. But my opponent doesn't see it. He's going to use the Gholdengo. Actually, I think he ends up using a Dunsparce to knock me out. And something else that's nice for me here is that my opponent puts down Pheasantipity. Without that Pheasantipity, it might have been a little awkward for me to take my last KO. Like, of course, I have these 2 Pikachu attacks, but to set up a 3rd Pikachu, I would need another attachment and a Crispin. And at this point, I might be running low on energy, so I might have also needed a Super Odd. But now, that Pheasantipity opens up another option for me of just Blood Moon Boss or Blood Moon Prime Catcher. I mean, this deck plays a million ways to Gust, so shouldn't be too much of an issue, especially given that Gholdengo doesn't really play a lot of hand disruption. One thing that is kind of a little bit sketchy about my board right now is I don't have Fez, I don't have Mew. And so if my opponent were to randomly bust out an Iono, that could cause some problems for me. So he goes ahead, hits into my Pikachu with the Dunsparce. So I've got an Ultra Ball here. This is going to let me get some kind of setup Pokemon in play. I think I end up going for the Mew. That way I can draw some cards. No, okay, I guess I just go for the Fez, figuring that my Pikachu will die. Or maybe I just have the Mew. I prized the Mew. That's why I didn't get the Mew there. Now I remember. So I just get the Fez. I'm a little hesitant to put down the Fez because it could get boss KO'd, right? This Pikachu in the active. A quite powerful effect in Pokemon is where you have like your strong attacker in the active and then your strong draw support Pokemon on the bench, and they kind of like protect each other. But my Pikachu has no energies, and so it's not really a threat. And I didn't want to like put down my Fez, have it bossed, and then I don't really even have an attacker, right? So a little awkward. But my opponent again here could have used the little Dunsparce to take the knockout here. Could have used, I believe it's called Gnaw. So you know what? Maybe I should have put down that Fez, figuring that I'd rather my opponent kill my Fez with Gholdengo than kill my Pikachu EX with a 1-prizer, because that would have forced me to have boss on this final turn. So, well, I mean, it actually wouldn't have even forced me to have boss because my opponent's only going to 3 prizes here. So I would have even another turn. But here, I just got the Fez, got the Mew off the prizes. I think I have Crispin in hand here, or maybe I'm about to Pokegear into it. But I just go ahead, draw a bunch of cards here. Looks like I'll have to hit it on this Pokegear. But yep, and then I got the Super Rod, guarantee the energies, and the triple Topaz Bolt to close out the game. Pretty straightforward. I think this matchup's really good. Unless maybe my opponent played a Vengeful Punch or like a Brute Bonnet and a Capsule, something to deal with the Pikachu. But in this case, didn't have an answer to the Pikachu, and we get a pretty swift 1-0 start for this League Challenge. Getting into the second round of the League Challenge here, I hit another fellow Joltik box enjoyer, and he wins the coin flip and gets to go second, which I think is a really big deal. He's going to get to Joltik, and then I'm going to Joltik. He's going to have Iron Hands. I mean, we'll see it all play out, but him having the ability to Joltik first is definitely going to be a big deal. Again, a theme for this matchup, similar to how I was playing that Gholdengo matchup. I need to make sure I don't put down 3 Pokemon that aren't Pikachu, right? If I put down like Miraidon, Fez, Latias, right? There's 3 Pokemon my opponent can knock out back to back to back. And I mean, that's bad, right? I want to force him to go through my Pikachu EX. And take that out, or 2-shot it, set him back a turn, right? You see my opponent kind of doing the same here. He's got Miraidon, Iron Hands. There's 2 Pokemon for him that I can take out, but he hasn't put down a third one. Something also to note is that my opponent here is going to be able to amp my Joltik. So that Joltik counts as one of my kind of 2 prize liabilities, even though it's a 1 prizer here. But I'm going to go ahead, get the Joltik attack off. I put an energy on the Joltik. I think that was probably just a wasted energy. I figured like maybe my opponent wasn't going to amp here because he only put 2 energy on the hands. But he obviously just has Crispin, and that's why he put only 2 energy on the hands, and I'm getting amped here. So I think that extra grass energy could have gone like just on one of the Pikachus, even just for extra energies to discard. I mean, I talked about that in the last game, how having extra energies, would maybe let me keep metal energy, and then that's a big deal. I think I also could have just done the same thing where I put like all 4 of my energies on the same Pikachu so that I can actually attack back to back, and we'll kind of get into that. Yeah, like imagine here my active Pikachu just had like 6 energies on it. I think that would be way better. Then on my next turn, I could like kill the Miraidon. And we'll kind of see how this gets a little awkward for me because now my bench Pikachu has 2 energies and I don't have a metal energy, right? Metal energies are kind of hard to find. You got to like Vessel or Crispin, and I want to be playing boss, so we'll kind of see how that gets awkward. But another thing here, like I mentioned, I already have this Miraidon on the board. My opponent took my Joltik for 2 prizes, so I cannot put down another Pokemon, right? I really want to put down like Mew and Fez and draw cards so that I can find my metal energy. But if I put those cards down, I'm going to lose. My opponent's ahead in the prize trade. So I have to play this like really awkward board in order to try to deny him from going 2-2-2, essentially. And now the other awkward thing is that because my opponent was able to Joltik first here, we actually end up in a spot where he has a Joltik and I don't. So here, ideally here, I would want to go like Metal Energy, Boss the Miraidon, which I would have if I just put like 6 energies on 1 Pikachu at the start here, right? I would still have my Metal Energy here, and then I could kill his Miraidon, but then he would Joltik, and the game would get really, really weird from there. So it's a little bit of a shame here. I don't have Metal Energy Boss because I made that mistake, not just loading all my energies onto 1 Pikachu. And so now I'm put in a spot where I have to put down a bunch of liability Pokemon to draw cards to try to find the Metal Energy. And I even actually whiffed the Metal Energy, so I just end up bossing the Miraidon and passing. And now the game is firmly in my opponent's hands. Nothing I can do. No Iono in my deck. No Unfair Stamp. No Phantom Diving. I'm just dead in the water here. But, I mean, I could speculate on how this game would have gone here, right? Imagine I did get that Topaz Bolt. We both go to 2 prizes. My opponent would Joltik onto his Pikachu. Then I would Joltik onto my Pikachu. We're both in a spot where neither of us can put down any 2 prize Pokemon that aren't Pikachu, or else we would lose the game to like Blood Moon Boss, which is pretty easy to do. And then I imagine he would just like 2-shot my Pikachu. He'd probably like attack my Pikachu first with the Galvantula to do some damage, and then like kill it with the Pikachu for game on the next turn. I don't know. This endgame would have gotten kind of interesting. I'm sure there's people out there who have a lot of experience in this Joltik box mirror, but yeah, we see the game play out there. I don't even really know what happened, but I lost this one. And so we're 1-1 in this challenge. round 3, I ran up against my first Dragapult, and he's actually playing my version of Dragapult with the Luminous Energies and the Monkey Dory, so pretty cool to see that kind of catching on at my local tournaments. I imagine other people have probably been seeing that as well. I wonder if this deck will eclipse Dragapult Dusknoir as kind of like the most popular Dragapult deck. I'm not really sure. I probably doubt it, but maybe. But regardless, we're in this game. I went first, and I actually passed already, and my opponent gets the turn 1 Itchy Pollen off. I didn't attach an energy on turn 1, so obviously I don't have one. And then I don't have a Crispin either here, so no way for me to get off the Joltik attack. And this game is already a little bit of a disaster. Let's see if we can pull it out. My opponent has a Dracloak. Of course, this Dragapult deck is like a little slow, so maybe I can still get the amp off on that Dracloak before my opponent's ready to go in. Right, he kind of needs a lot to go in here. I think he needs like, well, he obviously needs 2 energies. I think he needs a boss's orders. He's going to want some backup Dracloaks because I could come in with the Clefairy and just one-shot him as soon as he breaks the item lock. So we have a little bit of time here. This Bravery Charm on the Joltik will buy us some more time. I'm just playing these Arvins here to get myself, well, really just the thin cards from my deck, so I'm more likely to top deck an energy card or a Crispin. I also think that benching this Iron Hands was a mistake. I don't really know when that came down. I probably got it to thin my deck a bit, so I'm more likely to top deck energy. But this Iron Hands is such a liability. Like, if my opponent just bossed up this Iron Hands randomly and used Itchy Pollen, I'll never be able to get the Joltik attack off. So I think maybe a little mistake. Don't get punished. My opponent doesn't find the boss, but I think that's something I definitely could have improved on here. I got the Crispin top deck now, and we're in the game. My opponent really hasn't done too much. I mean, they're pretty set up, so this is going to be a little difficult here, but I get that Joltik attack off, and I just put the extra energy on the Joltik, figuring that my opponent doesn't really want to kill this, and maybe I'll make it a Galvantula and like attack at some point. I think I like probably should have just tandem united for a second Iron Hands, and then split the energies on the Joltik, like three energy on one hands, 2 on the other. Or something like that. Just set up another relevant attacker, because this Joltik can never attack for 2 prizes, which is really all I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to go 2-2-2, whether I'm amping little guys or using Clefairy or Pikachu or Blood Moon. Every one of my attacks should be taking 2 prizes if the game is going well for me. But here, we're going to continue from this board. My opponent gets the Pult up here, and I'm kind of just hoping that my opponent doesn't have boss, and is just going to kill this Joltik. I think... well, I'll just give a little spoiler. He is just going to kill this Joltik because he doesn't have boss here. He's got the Genesect to block Prime Catcher, which is pretty good. But I think here my opponent should probably just Badoo for another turn. Killing the Joltik doesn't do a whole lot for him, and it puts his Dragapult in danger, right? Like, I could come in, kill it with Clefairy, and then like, okay, maybe he kills my Clefairy, but maybe I Super Rod it and Clefairy him again. And all of a sudden, he's kind of running out of attackers. You know, he needs to find more Pults and more energies. So I think he should have just used Itchy Pollen again, sacrifice the prizes to Iron Hands, and go from there. If he wanted to, he also could have put down like Pheasantipede or Blood Moon and just thrown the Pokemon into the active to like tank a hit, right? Like, what can I do, right? I can amp it for 120 or attack it with Galvantula for whatever damage that's not a knockout, right? And so that's a nice little trick as the Dragapult player against this Galvantula deck, is just throwing big Pokemon in the active to try to buy time. And now here, I really expand my board here. I get down Pheasantipede, and that's some also explosive draw power from the Joltik being KO'd. Very nice. And I actually prized my Clefairy this game. I wouldn't have put it down this turn even if I had it, because I don't want it to get like Countercatcher or Boss KO'd. You want to get the energy on the Mew, and I'll kind of talk about this more on the next turn, because I end up drawing Clefairy off the prizes, and the summary is that, you know, obviously I get the Clefairy down, and then Mew attacks for weakness, and I can Phantom Dive, and the spread damage isn't really relevant, but what is relevant is that I'm attacking with the Mew and not the Clefairy. So if my opponent kills my Mew, I have the Clefairy. If they kill the Clefairy, then I still have my attacker powered up, right? So a little bit of that kind of threat diversification idea. So my opponent here put in an awkward spot. I did opt to boss the Genesect and amp it. I could have amped the Dracloak, but I kind of figured I just like don't care about this Dracloak. Like, what is it really doing? My opponent seems to have plenty of energies already. He's got a Dragapult. He's about to be in range of using Blood Moon. I'd actually rather him be attacking with Dragapults than Blood Moon, because I don't know, Blood Moon is just really hard to kill. I don't have Pikachu, right? And also, I figure like having Prime Catcher is really nice to close out the game, right? Might want to like Arven for Prime Catcher and amp the Badoo. So I kill the Genesect trying to deny that, but he gets it right back. But it gets a Lux Cape, which is significantly worse than any other tool because that opens up a 2/2/2 prize map for me that involves me just amping that Genesect, right? Like imagine here, okay, cool, I kill this Pult, but then he Blood Moons me. I can't kill the Blood Moon. I don't have a hands, and so I can't take like the Dracloak or the Badoo for 2. And so I would put an awkward spot. But I end up getting the Clefairy off the prizes here, and I also got the Prime Catcher off the prizes, actually. It was prized as well, but it just goes straight to the discard pile because that Genesect is now here to stay. I'm looking for Crispin here to get the Mew attack off, and I find it, and that's going to let me Phantom Dive. And now, like I said, I have a very threat diverse board, I guess you could say, right? I have the Mew, it has 3 energies, it's threatening to copy attacks and take KOs. I have the Blood Moon, which is threatening to KO the Genesect. I have the Mew and the Fez, which are both drawing me cards. And then, I don't know if I said the Clefairy already, but of course I have that. And so I set up a pretty good board here where I'm going to take out this Pult. I'm just trying to figure out like where my Phantom Dive damage should go. I don't think it really matters. I don't even know what I end up doing with it. I just put it all on the Dracloak, I guess. I don't know. If anyone in the comments has a relevant application of any damage counters here, let me know, because I couldn't think of any reason why these damage counters would matter. So just tossed them all on the cloak. And then here, I imagine my opponent's best move is to like Iono. And what's the best Pokemon for him to KO? Probably Fez. Like I would think the best play here is like Blood Moon, the Fez, Iono. Yeah, that seems pretty reasonable. My opponent here, we'll see if he even, I feel like he might have even not had Iono. No, he has Iono. Okay. But maybe he just doesn't have Counter Catcher here. I mean, the Mew EX is also like a pretty good Pokemon to kill, especially if you're going to be attacking with Dragapult. This Mew is definitely the best Pokemon to kill. Maybe he didn't have access to the Blood Moon. Maybe he was prized during the discard, or he didn't have a Nest Ball. I don't really know. Maybe he just decided not to get it, but that lets me close out the game with Crispin here. But, even if I didn't just draw the Crispin there, right? I got the Fez, I get to draw some cards. I also went with like Boss Energy. So a little bit of a rough start, but I was able to navigate into a pretty standard game, found a 2/2/2 prize map, which I think is really the name of the game with this deck. And we're going to be 2-1 in this challenge. Getting into round 4 here, we have the match all the people want to see. Blissey versus Joltik box, the 2 titans of the format. What a match we have here. Shout out Nolan for getting us this gameplay and also rocking a sick shirt with the oranges there. I think those are oranges. I don't know. It's a dope shirt. But we're getting into this game here. And as this game starts, I realize how annoying Cornerstone actually is for this deck. The only thing that can damage it is the Iron Hands. One other thing there, I Pokegeared. My first Pokegear found Boss. And I decided not to take the Boss because I have Ultra Ball in hand. And I thought like I might end up using Ultra Ball for Mew to draw cards, and then I don't want the Boss clogging up my hand. But in hindsight, I should have just taken that Boss, and having that Boss in my hand would be nice, because now I get this Arven, and I don't need to Ultra Ball for the Mew because I can just get the Joltik out. But I don't know, a little bit of a complicated situation there. I used the Prime Catcher here, which is a little unfortunate, but it was my only way to get into the Joltik. Oh, I cut the Future Booster. Otherwise here, I could have Arvened for Future Booster, and then I wouldn't have needed to use Prime Catcher. So maybe this Future Booster card is actually kind of good. But anyways, here, Nolan ends up having actually a very lackluster hand here. He's him Pokegearing for the Boss, and he's just kind of stuck here. I mean, he's got the Turbo Energize. He's got a Blissey in hand. He's got like a little bit going on, but definitely a slow start for him. And what I think is probably a good matchup. I don't really know. I mean, I'm pretty terrible at killing Blisseys if they all have rigid bands. The one thing I do have going for me here is that I realize that Nolan is damage capped. I mean, unless he's going to use Roaring Moon, which I just like don't really think he's going to do. He can only do 180, right? So he can't kill my Pokemon as long as I don't give him damage to work with for Monkey Dory, right? So I think in this matchup, if I ever had to like smack a Blissey with Arm Press, I would consider passing and just like not giving him the damage to work with. Maybe try to like use Joltik again, and on the following turn like Boss a Monkey or something. But I'm already down a Prime Catcher, and I didn't put that Boss in my hand. from that initial Poke gear. So we'll see how this plays out. This Chansey here is stuck in the active. We're going to get a nice amp off into this Chansey. I do debate just like using Joltik again there, because I don't have boss in hand right now. Like this Blissey comes up and the Blissey like attacks me, draws him 6 cards. And now I'm in an awkward spot. I don't have boss. And so what am I supposed to do here now? Am I going to arm press? Am I going to retreat back into the Joltik and use the Joltik attack again? I mean, now he's got 6 cards, so like he probably has a boss's orders, right? So now I can't really retreat into the Joltik. Maybe I should have just retreated into the Joltik last turn. Not really sure, but this is the position we find ourselves in. I Nestball for the Mew, and I'm just trying to find boss. Now I am down Prime because I didn't play the Future Booster Capsule in my deck, and so now I also can't Arven for Prime, and things are getting a little awkward. Also, I'm not entirely sure where my last 2 prize cards are coming from here, right? Like ideally, I'm going to amp a Monkey, and then my hands is going to die, and then what? Where are my last 2 prizes coming from? I probably have to Joltik onto another Iron Hands at some point. I don't know. But anyways, I end up arm pressing here for 130 with the idea that I'll Pikachu it next turn. But I feel like this could actually be a mistake, and I was maybe supposed to just like hard retreat my hands into Joltik, like tandem unit for another hands and like power up another hands. That honestly sounds kind of good. Because now here, right, I give him Monkey, and now he's going to have this damage to work with for like the whole game. Like imagine here, he had like Switch to bring this damaged Blissey to the bench. That Blissey's such an asset for him because he just has extra damage amp with the Monkey Dories and the Blissey abilities moving around the dark energies. And I kind of gave that to him. So maybe I kind of played this a little poorly. I'm not entirely sure because I need to take prizes, and at least this sets it up to die to Pikachu. But of course, Nolan's going to get some value there, going to get some damage out onto the Pikachu EX, break that Resolute Heart, and also set it up to die to the Blissey attack, the return, or whatever it's called. And so here now I'm looking for Crispin. The idea being I'm going to Crispin, I'm going to Topaz Bolt, I'm going to kill this Blissey. My Pikachu is going to die. And then to win the game, the plan is going to be to Joltik again and power up another Iron Hands. And I think I might also need Super Rod because I'm down a lot of energies at this point. I might have also prized the second Iron Hands. That might have been the reason why I didn't set it up already. So I might need to actually Super Rod back the Iron Hands. I'm not entirely sure. But anyways, here, Nolan's going to have a pretty free KO on this Pikachu. I'm going to use the Joltik on the following turn. And then I think it could technically win the game, right? Like he is now back to being damage capped, right? There's no damage on his board to work with the Monkey Dory. And so he could use Roaring Moon EX. But I don't think he has enough Blisseys to like actually set up a Roaring Moon EX. So I don't think that's actually a threat here. So I'm pretty sure I'm safe for another turn. I can just Joltik to the Iron Hands. I can use Mew. I can use Fez to build up my hand. I kind of have this threat diversification. I mean, in this case, he can't KO anything. And so I'm going to start my next turn with Mew and Fez and my 4 energy Iron Hands. He's like, is he going to kill my Joltik? That doesn't sound very good. That just gives me Fez and Dippity, right? So is he going to pass? Well, if he passes, I'm just going to keep waiting until I have boss to win the game. I'm never going to attack into this Blissey and give him the Monkey Dory damage he needs to win the game. And then, yeah, we're just going to see this Joltik attack. I decided to put an energy. Oh, I was going to put it on the Joltik. Oh, my Galvantula is in the discard. I Ultra Balled it away. So that's why I didn't put the energy on the Joltik. I am completely out of energy at this point. So that energy on the Fez isn't going to do anything except maybe like retreat. I don't know. But anyways, here, Nolan's going to find an Iono. Put me down to 2 cards here, hoping I don't have a boss. I flashed in my hand to show him I had a boss and 2 Pokegears in this hand. So feeling a little bit bad about this Iono with all these outs to boss going to the bottom of my deck. My Prime Catcher is gone. I could definitely whiff boss here, but even if I whiff boss, like I can just keep sitting here until I draw the boss. If Nolan kills my Joltik, that gives me Fez. So he can't really apply pressure. And he actually passes, and I just drew 2 boss off of that Iono. But I think either way, I had like a lot of time and a decent amount of draw power. I go through my deck and like show him all the outs to boss I had. But yeah, so in hindsight, this matchup actually might be kind of good if you just like don't give them monkey damage, which I briefly did, which was bad. But then it got resolved. I was able to kill the damage off, cap his damage again, and we take down that round 4, and we're 3-1 here. Going into this last round against a good friend of ours, Riley. We've played against him forever. Back when we were like 12 years old or whatever, we used to play together at a local card shop, and pretty cool to see him and I still duking it out here all these years later. He's playing Dragapult Dusknoir, and I'm playing this Joltik deck for our final match here. And I had a weird hand here. I'll put it on the screen for you guys to see. And I think I played it badly. What I should have done is played both the Ultra Balls, discard everything but the Lightning Energy, and then I can get Miraidon, which gets me Joltik hands, and I can get Latias. And then I attach my Lightning Energy to the Joltik, play a 0-card hand, and on the next turn I Joltik, and then I hands, and I just hope that's good enough. But instead, I was worried about playing a 0-card hand, so I got the Mew so I can draw cards, attach energy to the Fez, right? So I have some draw power, and I get absolutely punished because now I don't have a Latias. Riley bosses up my hands, and my hand is completely dead, and it's an absolute disaster because now Riley has like a million turns to just Itchy Pollen until he has like, I don't even know, like the God board, right? Like he can wait for a long time, especially because I wasn't playing Future Booster Capsule. Yeah, you definitely need to be playing that card. At least then I could like Arven for the booster and play the game. But here I'm just trying to like top deck Latias. My hand's mostly items. I get an energy. And yeah, this game from here pretty much plays itself here. For a while here, he only has 1 recon, and so he's developing his board pretty slowly, but Artisan's getting him some consistent value. The Duskulls start to come down, and I'm pretty much in turbo draw pass mode. Oh my gosh, I have Galvantula in my hand here, and I decide I need to evolve into Galvantula to draw a card. I don't even know if that's good, but I don't think it really matters. At this point, we're just going to see his board continue to develop. And you know what? I might just kind of skip this until we get to a point where he finally decides to attack, because long story short, he's just going to keep doing here. Actually, it goes down pretty quickly. We'll just watch him draw his cards and me enter Draw Pass Simulator. I think he might go in this turn, maybe. But again, there's really no pressure. He can even wait until he has like Dusknoir kill, Clefairy plus Phantom Dive kill hands. He might even be able to set up for a 6-prize turn. Maybe that's not possible. No, I don't think he can set up for like an actual 6-prize turn, but I mean, he can do pretty good. And okay, this is finally the turn where he goes in. He gets the Pult, he plays Research, all the energies. He can use a Dusknoir, he's got Dusclops. I think ultimately he just decides to hold all of his Dusknoirs, knowing that I can't really kill them. And he's just going to Phantom Dive me, he's going to spread around some damage, and then he's going to look to take a 4-prize turn next turn. You know, like double Dusknoir, Blood Moon, double Dusknoir, Phantom Dive, something like that. And I realize I have no hand disruption. This game's so over. I have more actions, but I just don't even care. I attack with the Clefairy, and Riley uses his 10-card hand to do the winning combo. Phantom Dive, Dusknoir, and yeah, turn 1 boss, definitely nasty. So moving forward, this is the Joltik box list I would play. Iron Leaves, I think, was completely useless. I mean, like, yes, the card's good versus Charizard and Zoroark, but you have the Galvantula, and you can use Iron Hands. I don't think you need the Iron Leaves for those matchups. And then the Future Booster is like a must-play, and I realized pretty quickly that I was wrong on that one. 2 Latias was kind of good. The card is pretty important, but maybe not necessary. I don't know. I'd have to play more games. Prizing Latias in some situations, like prize Latias, start Blood Moon, like, I guess that's pretty specific, but that sounds awful. I just used the extra slot to toss a Night Stretcher into the deck because I enjoyed Super Rod, but also having that Night Stretcher could be kind of nice for recovering Clefairy or Fez, or maybe even Galvantula because you don't have the leave. So that's going to be all for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed a little bit more of a casual video. Maybe you learned something. Let me know in the comments down below all the misplays I made with this deck, because I'm sure that it was probably more atrocious than I even realized, and maybe there's some connoisseurs in the comments. But that's it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.